Hi, everyone. Life Coach Carissa here. I am back with you today to talk about how we can release stored emotions. I recently shared a video message called Understanding Stored Emotions. And in that video, I talked about how experiences throughout our lifetime can become stored within our central nervous system. The body will store trauma in the muscles, organs, and connective tissue. I gave you a bit of background on what it is and how you can work to uncover it in your own life. But in this video, I want to talk specifically about how you can work to release the stored emotions for your own emotional health and well-being. So I want to share the options that you have available to you to release that stored emotion. So let's recap a little bit. The body is made up of energy, right? Energy is how cells are made. Electricity is required for the nervous system to send signals throughout the body. So if our body is made up of energy, then it only makes sense that stored energy in our body will disrupt its ability to function optimally. And that stored emotion is what can come back up for us every day in our lives on a subconscious level. You don't even realize this is happening, right? You don't realize this is an underlying root cause of what doesn't make you feel well or have you responding to circumstances in your life in a way that you would really ideally choose. It can feel heavy. It can feel like blockage. It can keep you feeling stuck in a loop of negative autopilot behavior. So to expand a little further, in the book, The Body Keeps the Score, the author is a psychiatrist, Bessel van der Kolk, and he shares that trauma is not just an event that took place sometime in the past. It is also the imprint left by that experience on the mind, brain, and body. This imprint has ongoing consequences for how we as humans will manage to survive in the present. Even if your mind wants to desperately leave trauma behind, your body will keep you trapped in the past with your emotions and feelings. It is such an insightful book, and I highly recommend it. It can be a bit high level with a lot of technical information, which I didn't exactly love, but I am now a firm believer that the better we can understand how our bodies work, we can make better decisions on how to manage it. So when emotions get stuck, you may notice that your ability to create a better life becomes limited. You may find yourself experiencing fatigue or anxiety, depression, and even further, stored unresolved emotions can lead to chronic pain and disease, which is really, really a reason why you want to look at this closer. So traditional therapy, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, that can take us to places of talking about the deep, tough stuff, is helpful to a certain point. But sometimes you may feel like you are doing all the right things and yet not feeling relief. And this is where different types of somatic therapies can come in. So let's review, how does this happen? Let's try to break it down into some simple steps. And let's maybe use the emotion of fear for an example. So what takes place is that something happens to you, a circumstance. You are involved in something or you witness something that creates the emotion of fear in you. Your body does this naturally as a part of your primitive brain. It's constantly scanning for danger, and it wants to create the physical vibration in your body that you feel fear, right? It does this so that you will feel that vibration and take action to protect yourself. So this is with fear, it's a very protection oriented vibration so that you will take a step away from danger, right? So you develop the physical vibration, you feel the emotion, which can include any thoughts and physical sensations that are associated with it. And then typically we would process the emotion and we can take away what we want to learn from it, keep it, process it, move on, right? Your brain and your automatic nervous system are communicating. Now, the problem arises when that process is interrupted. It can cause the blockage. And the higher the intensity, the more likely the emotion can become stuck. So, as children, we can't fully rationalize, reason, and process intense emotions. So, we tend to just find a way to cope and suppress it, suppress what caused the trauma. And it's now stored away in our central nervous system. Our brain does not have a concept of time, so it will not know that the stored emotion of fear was something from 20 years ago. It will present it to you, and your mind and body will feel the vibrations as it did 20 years ago, but you're feeling it now when this event isn't even happening. It's completely fascinating, isn't it? So, what I really want to share with you today is what you can do about this. If you recognize that you could be storing negative emotions in your body, maybe you're overly emotional. Maybe you just don't feel well all the time. Maybe you have some aches and pains that can't really be explained by traditional medicine standards. These stored energies, these negative energies that we're storing, is not something that your doctor is probably going to talk to you about or even be on the radar as a contributor for why you could feel this way, but it could be there. So here are some examples of things you can do with easy access that you could support yourself, right? So these are things that you could do without a big time investment or monetary investment or scheduling it at a certain time. So you want to start with developing a somatic awareness. Okay. So somatic means dealing with the body rather than the mind. So identify your areas of tension or pain in your body and make a note of where they are. Be aware of them. Another way is grounding. Grounding is a way of calming and regulating our nervous system. What is actually happening right now? What do I need to worry or fear? Journaling has been a great way for me to ground myself in the truth of the moment of what is happening, not the story that my brain maybe likes to create. So getting in touch with that would be a way to ground yourself in what the reality is. Another one is meditation. It's so useful in calming the mind and the body and signaling to your nervous system that everything is okay. We're not in danger. So don't overly analyze if you think you're not doing it right or your brain is too active, it must not be working. Just the act of sitting and breathing calmly is sending these types of signals to your body, which is a great thing if that's all that takes place, right? Another one is EFT tapping. And if you aren't familiar with this, look it up. There, you can Google it. There are many videos on YouTube. You can find a resource, someone that resonates with you, and just give it a try. I have been using EFT tapping for a few months now after dismissing it early on, and I can really feel a calming effect take place. Tapping is when you'll have these points in your body that you will tap on. And it's been really powerful for me. Like when I tap right here, I can feel like a peaceness and calm come over me. So it's really cool. Give it a chance. Check it out. Another one is massage. Now, there is an investment to this, but massage is a powerful way to signal to your body that you are safe. Also, if you have a massage therapist who is knowledgeable about deep tissue and where energy is stored in the body, that is a great way to have a release of that stored emotion, that stored energy. So beyond those things that I shared, I also want to mention that there are additional therapies that you can receive with outside trained support. And I'm just going to highlight a few, but I'm sure there are actually many more that I'm not going to mention to you because I don't want to get too overwhelming because there are a lot of different types of modalities out there. But I just want to highlight these three. EMDR therapy is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And EMDR focuses on the specific memories that cause the trauma or the issue. So you would need a trained outside therapist that you would want to work with to do EMDR therapy. Brain spotting is another thing. It's very, similar to EMDR. It focuses on the eye placement and the neural networks associated with the painful memory or trauma. Again, you'd want someone trained in this that could navigate you through that. And lastly, number three, hypnotherapy is a deep state of relaxation and concentration that allows you to be more open to being guided, with suggestions to make changes in your life that could improve your health. So that is another thing that you would want someone who is trained in that and that could help guide you through that. I share all this because I don't believe that we need to just deal with it or suffer through it. Again, so much of this is happening as a root cause of what has you feeling not your best. You often don't even realize what is stored in your nervous system, which impacts you so negatively. And I want to make sure that everyone knows that there are alternatives out there to only what we know, which is typically medication. I'm not against medication. I was placed on Zoloft at a difficult time in my life, and it helped lift some of the clouds away. However, I did reach this point several years later where I didn't think it was helping me anymore. And that is what really began my journey into my own self-care practices and looking for additional ways to try to bring relief and peace to myself. So I wanted to share my personal story with you regarding some of these modalities, just to kind of give you a real world example of what this could look like in someone's life. So as I've shared in previous videos, I have been someone that's been interested in trying to improve myself. I started reading self-help books at 17 just because of different issues and things that I was feeling that I couldn't quite figure out or understand. And so that, I carried that with me for a lot of years. And it wasn't until 2020 when my physical health and my mental state were kind of at their worst. And so I really began my journey at that time. I started with just making better decisions regarding what I was fueling my body with. I was ending my relationship with alcohol and making better choices with my food and exercise, exercising for relaxation and not just hitting a target of a distance or speed. So I really started to focus on those things in a different light. Journaling, meditating, learning about the brain during my life coaching certification. These were all things that I focused on. I really was my first client when it came to life coaching, and I applied everything that I learned to my life that was troubling me. And I really had a transformational experience. I became healthy physically and mentally. My numbers proved it. My relationships improved. My mood improved. My ability to even begin to experience calm and peace, to be able to go after things that I wanted in my life, including a new career. So 3 years into that journey, I felt like I couldn't make any more progress. And there would still be these physical feelings that would come over me about certain areas in my life. And I could see the patterns and I would work on it and work on it, but I just couldn't overpower the physical feelings that had me acting in ways that I really didn't want to. Like I would get mean or snippy or snarky, or I would be feeling high one day and then feel like a dark cloud was over me the next. And there'd be no reason for it. And I would be perfectly content. And then a feeling of doom would come over me. And so this is where my journey really took a turn. I had been getting massages for over 20 years. And at one of those appointments, I told my massage therapist that I was feeling very emotional. Since my dad had passed just over a year ago, I felt like it was always lurking there below the surface to hijack how I really wanted to feel or show up in situations. And that day, she focused on a specific area, such as the hips, where women tend to store trauma. And it was very uncomfortable at times. Sometimes it would make me feel nauseous, and I'm trying to breathe through it. It was just uncomfortable, right? There was some tension there. And she ended up placing a tissue down by my hands. And I thought to myself, well, why did she do that? I'm not sniffling. I'm not crying. I didn't ask, but I was wondering. And so about 5 minutes later, I just started to cry uncontrollably, and I wasn't doing it. I told her, I said, I'm not doing this. I can't stop the tears. It felt very strange to not be in control of the flow of tears that I was having. I had never felt anything like this before. And that was the moment that I believed 100% in the fact that we store pain and trauma in our bodies. I knew I needed to focus on releasing whatever I could so that I can be intentional and in the moment and not have something subconsciously hijacking my physical feelings and having me acting in ways I didn't want to. So following that massage, I revisited a therapy modality that I had learned about actually 3 years earlier called EMDR. And I reached out to someone local to me. I remained patient while I was on a wait list, and I finally experienced it for myself. I have been going through this therapy for the past few months, and I've experienced powerful transformation and results in my life. I physically feel different. My physical body is now more aligned with all the brain work that I had been practicing for the last 3 years. After one session, I could feel the shift. After several sessions, I feel like a different person. In fact, I went to receive a massage after my third EMDR session, and my massage therapist, who I've been seeing for over 15 years, made me aware of something. She said, you know, that area in your left rib that was always there, it's gone. And I was like in shock because I didn't even clue into it. I was like, you are right. I didn't feel it. I had this tender spot. And when she would work on it, I would sometimes really have to breathe through it, or it would make me feel nauseous. It was very pesky. It was like she'd work on it and it would fight her. It would just kind of jump around and it would be like messing with her. And I would feel it. And it was something that we would talk about, like, what is that? You know, and she'd work on it. And I just began to assume it would always be there. It had been there for years. And it was gone in this massage session. That I never felt it. It was gone. And so after those sessions of EMDR therapy, I felt lighter and more at peace than I ever had felt before. My physical body had changed. And in the massage, I was seeing it, and she had proof of it and was pointing it out to me. So if you can't tell, I am a huge proponent of learning how you can take better care of yourself, mentally and physically, and trying the road less traveled sometimes, right? Just because we don't know about doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's maybe just not mainstream and highly, regarded or talked about. My therapist had informed me that one session of EMDR is more powerful than a year of talk therapy. There is nothing wrong with talk therapy. It does help, but I just want you to know that physical relief is available to you, which can assist with the talk therapy being so much more productive. That's what I found. I'm so much more open now to things that I was kind of struggling with before, because that my physical, state has changed. There really is a very real connection between the mind and the body. And I believe that I am adding quality years to my life from all that I have let go of. So this is what I want to offer to all of you. Any sort of trauma, whether big or small, that's residing in your body like an unwelcome visitor, do you want to just ignore it and let it stay for the rest of your life, showing up whenever it wants, manifesting in other forms whenever it wants? Or do you want to maybe take a proactive step in releasing all that you have stored and give yourself a gift of peace? Like I shared with you, there are some things you can do instantly for yourself, and there are things that you can take a bigger step with. If anyone would like to speak to me more about my experience, please don't hesitate to reach out. I will give you an open and honest account of what this has done for me and what it has the potential to do for so many people who are not feeling their best, especially those that are suffering from PTSD. All right, everyone. So that is what I have for you today. Thanks for listening. If you would like help with releasing stored emotions, I encourage you to request a discovery session with me. It's absolutely complimentary, and there's no obligation to continue. You may not think you need this. Maybe you think you're not ready. Your brain will throw up all these reasons why. But if you recognize that maybe you have emotions stored, then seriously consider spending some time on this part of your life so that you can feel lighter and more peaceful as you navigate this 50-50 life we have been given. Thank you so much for watching. Click that like button if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you can be the first to know when a new video is released. All right, everyone, stay warm because it's cold where I am. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.